welcome back to Just Thought Podcast.
Welcome, guys.
It's been a while. We've been out. It's summer. We've been traveling, creating memories.
Posting and out, going in and out.
Yeah, I'm giving some fake life. Extremely necessary. On the show today, we want to talk about a really interesting topic that's been on my mind for a while now. We are immigrants here. We came into this country as immigrants, and of course there's some life experiences that are interesting to talk about. But today we want to talk about banking. As Nigerians living in the diaspora, we want to talk about our experiences with banking back home in Nigeria
And here.
compared to what we have experienced so far being here. But before we start, I'd like for you guys to be well informed that Dami worked in the banking industry for a while.
For 2 years.
That's a long time to work in the banking industry. I've been a banking customer for a long time. I've used multiple banks in Nigeria, multiple banks in several countries as well. So we'll be talking from a point of experience as to how banking is in Nigeria and banking as experienced here in the diaspora.
Yeah.
How has it been for you when you got to France? This is your first country, yeah?
Yeah. Outside of
Outside
Nigeria.
Nigeria, okay. When you got to France and you began banking with some of the banks here, can you compare your experience with banking here and banking back home? First off, let's start with opening accounts. How was it like for you to open a bank account here compared to how easy it was for you to open back home in Nigeria?
So, two things. I would talk about the differences in two different lights. The classical Nigerian system and the neoclassical, if I can use that word. Those are the new generation.
Big grammars. Can you break it down to
So the
non-bankers?
normal Nigerian banking that we were used to. I think the first time I opened my account was in 2015. Yeah, 2015, and it is with a bank that uses orange color as their.
I think we're allowed to say their name.
No, there's no need. No free marketing.
Okay.
So yeah, I opened as a student. What was sufficient to open a bank account then was my student ID card, right? I think the process was smooth, not smooth after the paperwork, because I think I spent like 1 week going in and out. But in all fairness, there were a lot of students compared to here. I could open a bank account with any ID card I have, either the insurance, the Vital for your health insurance, or your student ID card. Sufficient fact is that your KYC needs to be done. I think Nigerian and abroad,
it's the same thing in both
almost
countries.
the same.
But
Yeah.
we're talking about how easy it was for you to open your account here. Was it easier for you to open your account here, or was it easier for you in Nigeria? Because from my experience, I think it takes a lot of processing to open an account here. You need to book for an appointment for the bank to give you an appointment to come and open your account, and then you provide your details, your documentation, and then you have to wait. Your account number will be sent to you,
Yeah.
your ATM will be emailed to you, and all of those protocol. Now, compared to your experience opening accounts in Nigeria, after the first bank account that you opened, subsequent accounts that you opened in Nigeria, how easy was it for you to open?
So subsequently, I opened one with the Premier Banking in Nigeria. Subsequently, I think it was still easy, but jump to the neoclassical era where I could open a bank account just by my BVN or by my phone number.
In Nigeria?
In Nigeria, those ones are seamless. The new banks, you know a lot of them. If you use all these money borrowing apps, you know them.
You can
Kuda,
Okay.
OPay. I mean, I opened my Kuda account out of papers. I was experiencing delay from my bank, from GT Bank then, and the person said, I have a referral code for Kuda. Why don't you just open and I should deposit the money in your account? There and then I opened my account. And to be fair, this is unpaid PR, right? I think Kuda Bank is the best thing that has happened to my banking experience in Nigeria.
Okay, let's not go to what bank is the best thing and what bank is
Yeah.
not the best. But yeah, my Kuda Bank might be one of the best banks in Nigeria at the moment. But that's by the way. In conclusion, what you are saying is it's far easier for you to open a bank account in Nigeria than opening a bank account here.
Yeah, so compared to here, I had to do the documentation. In my own instance, I just walked into the office here in Kennedy and we spoke to the lady. The lady told us they will send us some things after 3 days. So here we just had to wait for the legal and compliance process to be done.
It's a lot. I think
Yeah,
I
it's a
had the
lot.
same experience and a lot of other foreigners who live here. You go into the banks and they tell you need to pick an appointment, and then when you pick an appointment, you come with your credentials. They then tell you need to wait for your account number to be sent. So it's a whole lot of boring process. And for us, coming from Nigeria, it was strange
Yeah.
and extremely boring to have to wait that long to have a bank account. When in Nigeria, you could just go to any bank and then have the account open for you. In Nigeria, banks come to you and open the accounts for you. They come to your school,
Yeah.
they come to your place of work and they
I
open the
think they do
accounts for
that
you.
here. They do too.
They don't. They
They
just
don't send representatives.
they don't send
They
representatives.
do.
They
So
just
the
have
partnership
a
is
partnership behind, and then the school refers you to them,
Yeah.
or your workplace refers you to them, and then you have to go to them,
Yeah.
book an appointment, and it takes a whole lot of processing to open a bank account here. Okay, which is good. So far, your experience banking with this bank. Let's talk about the banking experience. How you receive alerts, the swiftness of transfers between banks, the swiftness of transactions. Can you, in comparison to what you experienced back in
In
Nigeria?
Nigeria. If not for my experience with the neoclassical banks that I mentioned, the Kuda Bank, I would have rated Nigeria very poorly. Meanwhile, I see a lot of similarities, right? Because in Nigeria, with the orthodox banking, you would still have to wait. You know, for example, if you go to a store, you want to buy something, you make a transfer. If the person tells you he uses maybe a GT Bank or a First Bank, it's not gonna arrive early, right? Unlike an OP or a Kuda. The same thing too here. If you use BNP, chances are you might not get your money immediately. You might have to go and see some
24 hours, 24 boring hours. No. Now, for Nigeria, I think Nigeria is far ahead
instant banking.
when it comes to banking.
Instant
Because
banking.
Nigerian banking system is instant.
Yeah.
No matter how slow First Bank is, you will get the alert
Yeah.
that day. You will get the alert less than 45 minutes after your transaction. It's not the same thing here. You cannot quantify how much you spend.
I mean, for Revolut, it's the same.
Revolut is not based here to be counted.
Yeah.
You cannot compare. You cannot easily quantify how much you spend if you use a bank like BNP, because you don't get debit alerts immediately, and then by the time they send you your statements, you don't understand them because they tell you minus 20 euros is coming from the future, minus 45 in the past, and you just don't know how much you are spending. Unlike GT Bank in Nigeria, for example, now the instant you make a debit transaction, it reflects in your account and you know you spend so amount. So it keeps you conscious of your spending habits. But yeah, you just go on a swiping spree. You just keep swiping and swiping and swiping. And the bad thing is they even lend you an extra 100 euro when your money is depleted.
Overdraft.
So you keep swiping and you keep swiping, not knowing that you've exhausted your resources.
Yes. So another thing that I want us to talk about is the non-contact payment system.
NPS.
Yeah. Which the first time I saw it here, it was quite strange to me. I never saw it in Nigeria. And that's not for the absence of exposure.
Because you use the same phone, you use the Nigeria to NPS.
Yeah. I use the same debit card.
Yes, I think it's for a reason. It's for a reason. You see, the Nigerian system is a very delicate one. You don't want to have contactless payment system about, people will cry.
The POS machine we use in Nigeria, I think it supports contactless.
It does support contactless
Because-
system, but the banks disable it. Because people will cry. Man, you could just be going on the street and somebody will just use a POS and swipe 15 euros, 20 euros, and then the phone. Now, it's not as if this money cannot be traced, but it's going to be a long process for the bank. It's going to cost them money in terms of workforce, resources,
yeah.
legal teams, and all of that to retrieve these monies back. So imagine the bank having to use maybe 500,000 naira to chase 10,000 naira that was illegally debited from a customer's account.
Yeah.
So instead of going through all of this brouhaha, they just disabled the system. So our institutions, our system is not yet ripe for a contactless payment system at the moment. That's my opinion, though.
I think we are just holding back by not putting both feet in the ocean. I think that's just the point, because if you allow people put in their ATM, type in their code, or they just tap and pay, it's the same.
No, let me explain.
It's the same.
Let me explain what I think. Why I think it's not the same. Contactless, you just swipe
Yeah.
and you move. You don't put a PIN, you don't confirm transaction.
Yeah.
But when you slot in an ATM stick, you need to put your PIN to confirm the transaction.
Yeah.
Which means if somebody takes your ATM and puts it there, they need to know your PIN. It's a two-factor authentication system. But with an MPS, you just swipe and that's it. So now, what if somebody goes, it happens here, mind you, but on a very low scale. It happens here, it happens in Paris all the time. People just input a particular amount, maybe 50 euros, so that the bank will not flag it, and then they just pass by your purse or your wallet and just swipe you.
The other thing too is there's a technology associated with the contactless payment system. If it notices you making a payment in a different region, or a transaction that is not according to your normal transaction, it will request you for your PIN.
That's why I'm telling you, they do it from 50 euros downwards. They don't do above that.
So 50 euros above, they will request for your PIN.
50
euros below, they might, if it is irregular
But
transaction.
chances are that you will most likely get swiped.
Yeah.
And because it's 50, 20 euros, you probably ignore. So the MPS system, it's not like people are not getting swiped here, but there are measures in place in the banking system where you can contest each transaction immediately and you get reversed.
Yeah.
We don't have that in the banking
So
system.
customer care here is way faster.
Very efficient. Now they've gotten that right. The customer care here is faster than what we have in Nigeria, but the banking system, transaction reports, debit and credit is way faster in Nigeria and much more efficient. I think they need to learn banking, some sort of banking from us over here. Yes, the security venture is top notch, but
in light of this, right, I want to talk about the customer care service of some of these organizations like Bloomberg. Bloomberg has a terminal where almost every trading happens. Maybe up more than 70-80% of the world's trading happen on Bloomberg terminal. Guess what? For you to be posted to their customer care unit, you need to go across retail banking, corporate banking, just go through the main functions, then you come back to do customer care. So as a customer care agent, you can solve any problem because you understand what the customer is buying, what the product is about, and how best to make use of it.
That's what.
I think
it points out to the fact that they've gotten customer representation, customer care services correctly. They just need to work on the swiftness of the banking system. The people here might be comfortable with it, but coming from Nigeria, it's strange that we have to wait for 1 day, 2 days to get the debit transactions of stores we bought yesterday.
In some cases, you wait 3 days.
3 days. Somebody sends you money.
The
person needs to add you as a beneficiary before they can send you money. Oh, come on.
Yeah.
In Nigeria, you just send. You can send somebody you don't know. In instant debit and credit transactions. So the banking transactions are really fast back home in Nigeria compared to what we have here. That's why I still keep some of my bank accounts in Nigeria. It's the same thing for when I was living in Eastern Europe. As a citizen, you couldn't credit a foreigner, but a foreigner could credit you. You know, some weird restrictions. But it's different here. Yeah, a foreigner can credit you, you can credit a foreigner. Those restrictions are not here. So I think banking is peculiar to each country. They all have how they run the system and that. Which brings me to something I've been meaning to ask you to benefit from your experience in the banking industry. I saw a post on Twitter.
Okay.
Yeah. I saw a post on Twitter where a young man said Chinese bank made around 23 billion naira profit in the last year without interest on loans and exorbitant charges like other banks. You know, a lot of people went on the comment section and were dropping different kinds of comments. And the guy said other commercial banks are evil because they charge high interest rates, and they were all bent on milking the populace. Now, as somebody who's been in the corporate banking industry, can you explain, is the guy correct to say that Chinese bank has made that much money without interest, which means profit making can happen in the banking industry without interest on loans, without high interest on loans and all of that? Can you explain this to us?
So this is the post where the guy said, like you mentioned, Chinese bank made 24 billion, estimated 24 billion last year without charging a single interest. Other banks are evil. And when I saw the post, by classifying other banks as evil kind of got to me, you know.
It was emotional.
Yeah, like, why would you say other banks?
The other banks not evil? I mean, as a common man, if I see that Chinese bank without charging a lot of high interest can make a profit of 23 billion naira, and GT Bank, Access Bank and the rest are charging me for SMS, charging me for loans, charging me for sneezing, charging me for everything.
So let's correct the misconception, right? Banking 101. Where did the idea of banking come from? People have money. People need money. How do you connect those who have money to those who need money? That is banking, you know, in all its form and shape. So I have ₦1 million. My consumption for this month is 50,000. I need a place to keep it. I won't put it in my house. I'll put it in the bank. And the bank will say, oh, thank you very much for keeping your money with us, as a JARA for Nigerian audience. As a benefit of you keeping your money with us, we ensure it's safe and we had a little interest on it, just so that you can feel comfortable with keeping the money with us. Then I close my eye to what the bank is doing. The bank, on the other hand, says, hey, I have money, which is the term for balance sheet. I have money on my books. Who needs money? Come to me. And then a Dangote, a Dantata,
or me, Dangote doesn't need the money. I do.
Dangote needs shitload of money.
Oh, okay. So let's go with me. For
a Wilson Levine.
Yeah.
He needs to trade. He's seen a position that he needs to leverage, make use of leverage on, and take this position to it be okay. The bank says, I'm all here for you. We'll give you this money, but because we're not sure you pay us back, you had a premium. Because we are parting with this money, you had a premium. So when they add all of these premiums, they call it interest. Right. Now, that is the classical bank.
So the interest, from what you are saying now, the interest that the bank is adding, are they adding it because they are not sure I will pay back, or because they are giving me their money and they also want to make something out of it? Because I mean, if you're adding interest, you are giving me money and you're adding interest because you are not sure I will pay back. Of course, I'll take your money and not pay back because already you added interest and you already know that I will not pay back.
Okay, this might not be banking 101. Maybe this is 201 now. Interest rates are a function of different premiums. The word for premium means on top of, right? JARA. Interest rates are accumulation of credit risk defaults, inflation rates, maturity premium, and all those. What it means is, if I'm giving you money, I need you to pay me for the uncertainty that you might not return the money. One. for the uncertainty that the money you borrow today will not be the same value in the future. You know, the concept of interest rate,
Inflation and all of
inflation, yeah. You must pay me for the maturity, you know. I can borrow you money and you say you pay back in 6 months, you say you pay back in 2 years, 5 years, all those different premiums. So these are the different segment of premiums that aggregates to rates. This is the normal banking. But as banking evolved, people started to think about innovative ways to portray banking. In fact, there is something called, let me use the word, it is really investment banking, but it is corporate banking. That is banking to those corporates who really make use of the money. We have a number of them. In Nigeria, they call them merchant banks. These are banks that will help corporates, big conglomerates, more than they will help individuals like us,
because they are sure these conglomerates will make money.
and they need shitload of money.
And the bank's primary concern is to make money. So they are sure these conglomerates will make money to repay back these loans. So they use this conglomerate.
Yeah. Okay. So outside of this merchant banking, we now have Islamic banking.
Recently introduced.
I don't know how recent. It is not recently.
In Nigeria.
Islamic banking, I'm not a Muslim, so I can't speak to the principles, but I can speak to the processes. Islamic banking does not believe in charging of interest, right? Which is where the misconception, you know, Muslims will tell you, if I give 5 naira, hey, nah, that's carry, don't return with interest.
Just return the 5 naira.
Yeah.
The same thing they do when they sell businesses. The Turkish shops around the corners, their products are cheaper because they don't add a lot of markups.
Yeah, markup. Now, let's get technical. How does Jaiz Bank make its profit?
Without the markup that GT Bank would hit on the same loan.
That is ignorance. The same mistake the ombudsman made on Twitter, saying without charging a single interest. Now, Islamic banking operates in like 4 different spheres. There are the Islamic name, Muradaba, Moraba. There are 4 different categories. I'm not going to speak to the terminologies. I'll just explain the processes. Now, because they don't charge interest, they have 4 ways for them putting a premium on what they give you. First is, I think most Islamic products too, they don't give you the cash. Just like Chinese banking system.
Yeah.
You know, if Chinese want to lend money to any government, they lend directly into the infrastructure. So if Nigeria wants to build a railway from Lagos to Calabar, which is what the government should have done, and you approach a Chinese bank, the Chinese bank will not give you the money. The Chinese bank will send
Pay for it.
Yeah, they will pay directly to the company that would lay the tracks, build the train stations and all. Yeah. So Islamic banking is like that. The 4 different ways, 4 or 5, there might be more innovative ways than I know. One is they will buy the product and sell to you. So if you want to buy a car, just for an example, the car is 5 million naira, they're going to buy the car and they might sell off the car to you and you pay back maybe within 12 months. The cost of the car can be, say, 3 naira. They will sell the car to you for 4 naira. Now, the 1 naira difference is the markup they've added, but they don't call it interest. The second way is by leasing. So you need something, say a machine. I will buy the machine and I will lease out the machine to you. Leasing is another word for people who can relate, renting. You don't buy the house, you rent the house, but the house is still the property of the owner.
Rent is for a short while, lease is for a longer time.
Yeah. Which eventually you can convert to be your own, right?
Lease to own
kind of structure. Yeah. The other part, they buy, and whatever they are buying into your business serve as their own share in your business. So they share your profit or loss, which is the Muradaba, if I get the name correctly. I think that is where Giants Bank makes the most of their money from. So this is what it means. If I happen to be an Uber business, right, and I approach them for financing, what do I need this money for? I need the money for buying cars, for drivers to drive. Okay, you have 50 cars on ground, you need money for more 50. I'm going to buy 50 more. So my share in your business is half, safe as you. So as your business continues to expand, as you're making profits, I take my own share in your profits.
So they don't ask for the original money.
No.
They just take the share gradually till.
Yeah.
There has to be a time frame. Do they do this forever or for an agreement?
Depending on the structure, and the term sheets. Yeah. So these are the different. There's a fourth one, and there are other innovative ways. These are the different ways that Islamic banking charge markups. But for the fact that they don't call it interest, a layman is tempted to think, oh, GT Bank, I will approach GT Bank. GT Bank, give me 10 million. No, GT Bank will say 20%. You will return 12 million in 1 year. Meanwhile, if you approach an Islamic bank, it would not tell you the interest rate because it does not believe in charging interest rates. Instead, it will tell you what the returned principal will be.
Okay, so your explanation is clear, but it still doesn't answer the question.
Yeah.
Now, you go to GT Bank, you want to take 100 million naira, and they say you're going to return 120 million in 5 years.
Yeah.
You go to Giants Bank, and they tell you, okay, you want 100 million naira, we're going to buy the cars for you, just like you explained.
Yeah.
And we're going to, when we buy the cars for you, we're going to take 100 and we'll take a share of your profit for the next 5 years. When you calculate it, it sums up to 110 million.
It can be way above.
Are you sure it is way above? Because if it is way above, I know Nigerians will complain.
Now,
so I'm guessing it is usually lower. Whatever markups that they put is usually lower. That's why Nigerians don't notice. It is significantly lower. That's why they don't notice, and that's why they feel they are being raped by commercial banks.
Okay, so this is again, we'll go back to banking 101, which is fundamental to understand this discussion. You would hear that the most expensive form of financing is not debt but equity. Meaning that if I want to start my business, right, because nobody trusts me, I will look for money from families, from relatives. Those ones will likely not give me the money as debt because they are not sure I can repay. They will give me as equity. So you give me 10 million in my business worth, say 20 million. You're telling me you own 30% of the company, and I agree with you because I need that money now. That is the Islamic way of banking. They because they are a merchant too, they operate in the merchant banking space. They look for people who need financing, but they might not be at the comfortable stage of their business cycle to leverage on debt. Do you understand? So they tell you, of course, if you approach an Uber with that kind of model, it's not going to work. Uber is going to tell you we are $1 million or $1 billion rated company. We're investing in buying cars. You're not going to get a big chunk of my shares. But if it is for Levi Company and Co.
Yeah, a small company just
you
need the finances. So
exactly, which is where I use the term they share your profit or loss.
Okay,
so if when you make loss, it is their loss.
It is their loss.
But do you know the funny thing is that most of Giants Bank's profit is from this model, this particular model we're talking about.
Equity in businesses.
Yeah, investing into the profit or loss of the business.
And because it's a risk, most times it's paying off now.
Risk.
It will pay off.
Well, you see, in banking, there is a way you can spread your risk level that your risk is very close to a certain level of profit.
Stop loss in trading, we call that stop loss take profit.
Okay. For example, you bought BTC 200, it is now at 220. You quickly shook stop loss at 210 or take profit at 210. So you know what, no matter what happens in this life,
You just lose $10.
you can, because it's now above. You know,
Yes.
you most definitely make that $10 whatever denomination, $10 profit. This is what banking is very close to. So there is a way you can spread your risk. You'll be almost certain that by calculation I'll make
Break even.
yeah.
Okay, so in conclusion, the commercial banks are not reaping the customers. The
No.
profit margin with Chinese bank, the interest rates is the same or even higher. Just that Chinese bank, it is covered in less carrier terms,
Yeah.
not as interest, but it's covered with these Islamic terms that makes it.
And see, this is what people don't bring to the fore, right? Nobody wants to say it is still interest. Because we all come to terms with your belief. You don't believe in interest. A knowledge of a good knowledge, not even deep knowledge of banking, tells you there are different terminologies with the same concepts.
The same meaning, the same interest.
It is premium.
with the different.
It is premium. So whosoever it is thinking that Jais Bank made money just by giving people free money and collecting it back, it never works.
It never works, because how then do you explain the profit?
How
If they give and take exactly what they gave out, how then do you explain?
never. They are not influencers that wait on
And they are not
gigs.
charity either.
They are not charity
They are
organizations
not
either.
USAID. Okay, Dami, thank you so much for that wonderful insight.
There's something I was going to say. So, just to be explicit, right? I had to look up their numbers. I was talking the other time about Muradaba investments that Giants Bank does. So, Giants Bank makes money on their financial statements. You can see the two different categories: financing activities and investing activities. Part of their financing activities, right? They have trading assets, income from trading assets, that's the right word, of 6 billion. Trading is trading.
Well,
They have a treasury.
yes, trading must have profits for trading.
Sukuk is 22 billion. While interbank Mudaraba placement is 15.9 billion. Meanwhile, these figures are for last year, December and January. For this year, they are almost
The year is not over.
at half year they are pretty good. Half year profit is 14 billion.
What does it take to open a bank? Can I start small?
Well, now you have the new minimum requirements by CBN. So to open a commercial bank, I think you need 50 billion.
What?
No, 50 billion if the bank is a merchant bank license, right? Merchant banking. But if it is a big bank like the Access, the GTB, with subsidiaries in different other countries, guess how much?
How much?
Just guess.
100 billion.
More than that?
300 billion.
I think it's 500.
Okay. Wait, I want to understand.
But this is your total asset value.
Am I going to give the government the 50 billion? I say take, oh, they will not give me license. Then I will not still look for another money to start opening the branches, employing people. Or when I give them the 50 billion, I'll be spending from that 50 billion to open all the branches.
No, yeah, exactly. The second model.
So
So
they'll be spending from the 50 billion that I deposited with them
yeah,
to open the branches.
Yeah.
So I
So
can
that-
spend all the money finish.
yeah. So when a business is starting, finance 101, your assets must be equal to your liabilities, what you borrow, plus your equity, what you own.
Okay.
So a company's entire assets is made up of what the company borrows and what the company actually owns. That's why you hear Elon Musk story.
$300 billion.
Yeah, but
What he has outside as debt and what he owns.
yeah. So if you now want to start a banking license, say for example in Nigeria, you will bring your assets, if you have any, which might be landed property, which might be you can have goodwill for a company just starting. But
something that equates to 50 billion naira if
Exactly.
sold.
Exactly.
That should, in case the bank fail, can be liquidated to settle customers
Exactly.
and all of that. Wow.
But that's for merchant banking. So different categories.
So for microfinance bank, I'm thinking of starting a bank. You know, when I was thinking that since today Lumelu started with 20 million, I was thinking if I have
That was there.
20 million, there's
You've forgotten the story by the famous and prestigious I Ganelbert about how they had to run up to make what's the name now, Intercontinental, to save Intercontinental from minimum capital requirements. Written, I meant to say, in his book, Living the Tarmac.
So I can't wait. I can't even start Osuzu with 20 billion naira.
Gonna start trading platform. Call people.
Okay, guys, thank you so much for sticking with us. Okay, we gotta go now until we come your way another time. Stay tuned. Have fun this summer. Go create memories, take pictures, and live your best fake life. Okay? Don't forget.
Like the code says,
Fake it till you make it.
no.
What,
Definitely not.
what are you gonna say?
Anyone who stays in a region only gets to read the same page
Over
out
and
of-
over again. So go out of your region, travel, go to Ghana, Tanzania, Togo, live your life, have fun, enjoy summer. Until we come your way again. And then Wilson Levi,
And damn it,
and this
Cheers.
is Just Thoughts. Cheers.
take care.